In this video, we'll learn about sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis is one of the very important tasks which we do in NLP use cases, where we want to know the emotional tone expressed in a piece of text. For example, this can be positive, negative, or neutral. It is very important for use cases in businesses where we want to understand our social media performance, say monitoring how does our product or website is doing, what are customers saying about it, is it a good or bad product, are we getting good or bad feedback about whatever we are trying to do. It also kind of gives us insights into the public opinion, is our customer satisfied, what are the market trends, and so on. Often the text data is available in free form in the real world, a large amount of text data, for example, millions of tweets, and sentiment analysis can tell us how does a particular candidate is doing in terms of the public opinion, or how does a particular product is doing in terms of the public opinion. It's a very complex task in general if you look at. But we'll in this setting, we'll look at simplified examples and we'll give a flavor that how in the real world the text can actually work. I'll show you a pre-trained lexicon which we'll use, which will actually be doing a very good job. In reality, we have to consider the whole world, their context, and sometimes even the overall structure. So sentiment analysis can start simplified with simply word assumptions and grow into context or overall structure as well. Overall, there are like three different categories which we'll consider today, like positive sentiment, negative, or neutral sentiment. Positive sentiment mostly express a favorable opinion, and negative sentiment should kind of like be saying as dissatisfaction or disappointment. Sometimes the sentences are neutral, that doesn't express anything strong. We will use NLTK library, which is Natural Language Toolkit. It is a very powerful library released over 20 years ago, and researchers have fundamentally adopted it for many different use cases. It also provides us out-of-box tools to do our sentiment analysis as well. It has many other different open source data sets, and also provides us capabilities to do stemming, lemming, tokenization of words, and so on. If you have not already installed, you can install it using pip. For example, here we are just giving it a simple text that NLTK is a powerful library for natural language processing, and we want to tokenize this sentence. Tokenization means that this sentence is converted into its independent words. Sometimes you have to download some resources which by default, if they are not present on your machine, for example, for this tokenization to work, we will have to download some resources if you have not done so. And if you run this, it will be showing that, okay, each of this complete sentence can be broken into these independent words. One, we have broken down into independent words, we can further process them. For our today's video, we'll be using Sentiment Intensity Analyzer class, which is provided by NLTK. And this class provides us out-of-box capability to do sentiment analysis using polarity scores. So polarity scores measure negative, positive, and neutral components. And we can combine this score to get a compound score, which can say, for example, -1 is most negative and +1 is most positive, whether this sentence is positive or negative. Under the hood, sentiment analyzer, intensity analyzer is using Vader lexicon. This lexicon is pre-built and pre-trained, and mostly it is used to find sentiments in social media text and free from languages or emotions or slangs. So it's a very good thing, which, for example, you want to understand sentiment analysis when users are, for example, typing text in the form of tweets or other free from examples, which we'll look today. Again, if Vader lexicon is not downloaded, you can download it. You can import the library, download the lexicon. From this NLTK sentiment, we will import sentiment analyzer. Using it is quite simple. It's kind of using any other pre-made functionality or library in Python. I have given it a text that I love using this product. It's amazing. Let us look at what the polarity scores look like and how does the sentiment of the sentence is. As we know, this is a positive sentiment sentence. If you run this, it is showing us that this is the positive sentiment text. You can also look into, for example, what does the sentiment score say? So internally, sentiment score will show us the polarities like negative, it's 0 negative. It's actually positive sentence. Neutral, it's 0.3, and positive, it's 0.6. Overall, it's a compounded 0.85. So in the compounding, positive and neutral are combined, saying us that the sentence is positive. Now I have taken even more sentences for us to play here. For example, weather is gloomy is a negative sentence. Movie is fantastic is positive sentence. The team performance was outstanding is a positive sentence. Out of all these sentences, we can now classify them. We again use the same capability, the sentiment analyzer. I'm parsing all this text which I've defined here, like in the form of sentences. It's a list of each of the sentence, and each of this list is analyzed to get the polarity score. If that's greater than 0.5, it's positive, less than 0.5, it's a negative, otherwise it's neutral. And let us look at what these sentences say. So in these sentences, I love using this product. It's positive, like we saw earlier. The weather is gloomy, it's negative. The movie is fantastic, it's positive. I'm not sure about this decision, it's somewhat negative. The concert was a disappointment, it's negative, and so on. Like you see, we don't have to train any models working out of box. It's a very simplified out of box available capability in our library. Next, to show some real power, let us look at Twitter data directly. You can load these positive and negative tweets again, which are available as part of NLTK. You have to download sometimes if you have never used NLTK on your platform in the past. So you can command this. I'll put the link to this notebook in the video descriptions and in the comment section. Loading positive and negative tweets, the tweets are already labeled for us. But let us see what our sentiment analyzer does. Can it find them what it should? So in this one, we are going through 5 positive tweets, and we are also going through 5 negative tweets. For each of the positive tweet, we are trying to find the sentiment of the tweet. We are also showing what does the tweet look like, what is sentiment, and what are sentiment scores. Let us run this example now. First, let us look at the positive tweet. So the positive tweet is, for example, tagging a few other things, but it's saying that for being top engaged members in my community, this makes us positive sentiment. Hey, Bud Howard, please call our contact center. We'll be happy to assist. It's a positive tweet. Look at some negative ones. Negative ones, for example, I hate Japanese, call him Barney. Dang, starting next week, I have work. You can see that it works out of box for many of these complex slangs and the scenarios. The reason being that we are using sentiment analyzer, which under the hood is using Waiter, and Waiter is designed to be used for public social media kind of consumption platforms and so on. It is a very simple ML task which we saw today. We have not trained any model. But often to start working on some of these use cases, you don't have to train your models. Understanding the data, using the pre-existing libraries often does a lot of hard work for us. Thank you, and I'll see you next time again in another video.